My name is Epsilon, and welcome to another episode of Uses Cum Laude. Today I'll be talking about two important thinkers that brought attention to the interconnectedness of the natural world and humanity's place in it, namely our stewardship and our effects on the natural world. And this created a whole new way of thinking in terms of environmental awareness. First, Thomas Robert Malthus. Residing in England, he was an Anglican cleric, scholar, political economist, and demographer. And he is most famous for professing the dangers of excessive population growth. In the early 1800s, during the Industrial Revolution, he noticed a steep rise in population growth among the cities of Europe. If this trend remained unchecked, nature would equalize the numbers for us, via disease, famine, or both. This is known as a Malthusian catastrophe. As a rule, population cannot continue to grow exponentially within a confined space and with limited resources, especially if we are sharing the planet with other species also trying to survive. At the time, his observations seemed very critical of a complacent society. He noted that any increase in population would be limited by the means of subsistence. Subsistence being the amount of resources one needs to survive. When subsistence increases, so will population. Any excess population is repressed by the consequences of misery, wars, famine, disease, etc. The remaining population is brought to a manageable level, proportional to the level of subsistence and the available resources. Ultimately, the long-term needs outweigh the needs of the short-term, and we must use foresight in order to minimize future catastrophe. In his best-known work, An Essay on the Principle of Population, he argues that population growth rises exponentially, while available resources rise linearly. Therefore, the population will eventually surpass available resources. Malthus was aware that there are checks in place that do help mitigate disaster. Positive checks. And these simply raise the death rate, by any means. War, famine, disease, etc. Preventive checks. And this is simply lowering the birth rate. For example, birth control, abortion, celibacy, delaying marriage, etc. And needless to say, the preventive checks are the preferred method. They help raise the standard of living and quality of life overall, as well as improving economic stability. And to put things in perspective, it took us about 34,000 years for us to reach 300 million people by 0 AD, and currently, at about 7.5 billion people worldwide, we increase our numbers by 1 billion about every 10 years. And we have to ask ourselves, is this sustainable? Alexander von Humboldt. He was a Prussian geographer, naturalist, explorer, and advocated for a romantic view of philosophy and science. He collected and recorded data on virtually everything: plants, animals, rocks, people, culture, magnetic fields. You name it, he probably wrote it down. Being an explorer, this data came from everywhere, from Asia to South America. With so much data on botanical geography, he essentially opened up the field of biogeography and ecology. His ultimate goal was to unify the fields of the natural sciences, promoting a holistic view of nature and the cosmos. Everything interacts with everything else in some way. He romanticized the sciences, promoting that one must feel nature's significance in order to truly understand it. Emotional curiosity lends itself to a greater appreciation of nature. By fully appreciating nature, we bear witness to its interconnectedness and diversity of life. As stewards of this planet, we must appreciate nature and treat it responsibly. After all, it is our home too. My name is Epsilon. Thank you for watching, and keep thinking.